Okay. Hey, never a dull minute here. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? So good to see you, and a little bit of Carly Simon for you. Um, yeah. Anyway, yeah, you gotta love music. I mean, if you don't, wow. So I guess the spirits are really active. I mean, the lights are just like going on and off. Anyway, Bosto to everyone. Favor be upon us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken in our lives. And that includes, the whole package inside. Happy Thor's Day, as they would say. So good to see everyone. Thank you, moderators. And hey, Nina the Mystic, I did a hump day message yesterday. I have to see that. I saw it come up on mine. I just didn't get to it. Nina will be on tomorrow, along with Steve, believe Brian Lunsford, and we're going to have a new guest coming on as well. So, card day. I love it. Let's see. Tonight on the Steiger Perspective, tune in. Artist.com, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain. Uh, going to be focusing in the barbarians are at the gate. So, hey, Big Al, how are you? So good to see you. David Barry, how's the thumb, buddy? Twisted Isby, hello. Nina, Rod, Wendy, there's a song about you. Grandpa Brian, how you doing? Elaine, good to see you. David Castle, Marcia, good to see you. Kent Cook, Bernadette, how you doing, my dear? Lost in Space. Eye of the Maelstrom. Boy, that's just skinny. Well, welcome everybody. Um, so the card for the day. I was meditating. Strange times sometimes when you get into it. You never know what. Hey, Darth, how are you doing? Loretta and Rex, good to see you. Anyway, the circle, yellow, one, and you had it all. So that works out really well. Hey, I want to show y'all something. We got really talented people here, Mark and Kathy. They have, I left a link for their products along with Josh's as well. And if you have a website, let me know. I'll put you on there. Um, so they sent Lynn and I some just wonderful jewelry and crafts that they make and subsequently sell. This is the comfort beads that they made. How appropriate, Mark and Kathy. It's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I think it represents moi pretty well. And they made Lynn one. She actually has it at, she already put it to work. And so this is a fantastic it's a book, little notebook. But check out this, folks. Isn't that beautiful? That's all hand done. And so support them. Check out their work. Buy some of their work. It's not expensive. And yeah, check it out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And they sent this on a groovy little stand. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kathy, so much. Mark actually did, I believe I'm correct on this, the Lilith um, pyramid. So very talented people. They live down there in Divine, Texas, which I think is near Del Rio. And I have memories of Del Rio, but that's on another time and another place. So thank you. Much love to you and Kathy. May your generosity be returned to you 100-fold that you have sown into my life. And that's how prosperity works. When you sow prosperity, gifting, I mean, they took the time to make this by hand. This is energy. This is their essence. And they sowed that into my life. And I return by reciprocating in kind of speaking 100-fold return back into their life. Anyway, so that's how it works, folks. Anyway, hello, Miss Trina. How you doing? So what's going on? Hello, Regina. Good to see you, dear. So much going on. You're in my memory. Yes, good to see you as well, sir. All right, we're going to get into this. Lots to get into. Let me first frame for the lecture today. I mean, we're all in class. I mean, seriously, I see us in my inner man, I see us in an amphitheater. And it just so happens that I have the podium, and there's others that have the podium as well. So here we are, 2020, in Earth at this time. We don't know what time it is. We don't know what the date is, but we play games. And so it is July 30th in the year 2020. It could be the year 2020, who knows? But so what dominates our plane of existence is that mankind is dominated primarily by about 4 religions. These are all heavy, heavy mind trips. And, you have the Judeo-Christian, that's Judaism, Christianity. You have Islam, you have Hinduism, and then you have the rest of the isms behind that. So that dominates pretty much the collective consciousness of humanity. Within each one of those constructs, there is a reality within itself. And each one has a destruction that culminates as the end for sapiens. Now, I did not say humankind because I don't know what humankind is. I know that we have structured a word called human, could be hybrid man, but I don't know what human really means. I understand sapien because that's a designator. It's not ambiguous, it's direct and to the point. All of us are sapiens. Now, within sapiens, there's a whole subset of genuses that dictate what we are. And within that construct, we have, again, our belief systems. We really do believe that we were created. Man really does believe that. Man really does believe that he is somehow the epitome of what intelligence is. Well, if sapiens represent the highest form of intelligence, we're all screwed. Period. Because if sapiens represent the highest form of intelligence on this planet, ay, 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 ay. Now, let's keep on the foundation of the following. We're going to be looking at continuing where we were yesterday, but getting even more specific. Because the mystery is we don't know where we came from. We don't even know who the hell we are. We lie to ourselves so much. That's why you can't believe any of these books. Because they're the creation of the asshole who's writing it. And I got to tell you what, folks, that did not start literally until we literally went live. That's, I guess the spirits are active. And I mean, I'm feeling the energy, baby. So now let's talk about sapiens. We identify ourselves as a species called Homo, meaning man, singular, man. The question becomes, were we naturally brought about through the evolution of Earth itself in creating a sentient life form? Earth. No one else. No invisible super being or whatever. Just Earth. Well, that leads into a whole lot of issues. We'll get into that in a second. I guess that would be bucket one, right? Bucket two is we were somehow magically created from the dirt. Somehow dirt became animated, a living soul. Now, the problem we have is that in the Western culture, we think Adam was a white dude. If we go with the narrative, seriously, folks, then it's most likely that Adam was black or something close to being black. But anyway, let's continue. That's bucket two. Bucket three is that we were transplanted here. That us, man, sapiens, are not of the natural lineage of man, but we were artificially put here, much like a virus would come in, and man is a virus. So let's get into this. This is for deep thinkers only. All right. So we talk about epochs. Epochs of evolution. It is said that we're in the 6th extinction and that we are of the 6th epoch. An epoch represents a designated period of time. Not specific, it can be open-ended, but in a generalized fashion, this is an epoch. According to the naturalist viewpoint on the evolution of intelligence, us, sentient intelligence, it has been a long, arduous process to get us to where we are now. Has been a long road. Now, if we take this point of view, in which we're going to look at it, it implies a huge gaps in our memory of who and what we are. A species of our intelligence should have never lost the memory of our origin. It means something artificially interfered. And if it's artificial, then we need to know of its origins. So we continue. So count down to the singularity. Now, this is taking that man, life, the congealing of billions of independent life forces called cells, joining together on a harmonious frequency that materializes into the complexity we call bodies. Now, if that was a natural progression of life in its basic form, accumulating to this, quite remarkable. And if we begin to look at what we think here on earth is, without the fairy tale story of, some magical being speaking man into existence, but if we just look at the science, we can generate this and duplicate this in the lab at its very earliest stages. And if we can do it in the lab in its earliest stages, working with cells, we have now cracked the human genetic code. We are now gods within ourselves, because within labs, both of government and private enterprise, new life is being created. Literally, new life is being created. Now, the consequences of what that new life is, that's for another discussion. But if we look at this, this is representing by about, if you look at this, I don't know, something comparatively to 1 billion years, maybe a little bit more. I mean, if the Earth has been alive, and I tend to believe that it is, then the natural progression of life is to reproduce itself. If Earth is a living being, then Earth would naturally begin to create life within itself. In this case, we identify Earth in the feminine. So if we follow that line of thought, then we are truly a product of a sentient being that we call a planet. I think we would all agree that Earth is far more intelligent than man would ever hopes to be. Man doesn't think it that way, but it's true. So let's just talk now about culturally. Now, if you have come out of a religion, this gets very difficult because in the beginning, we don't know when the beginning was. What beginning? If it's a beginning, it means there had to be an end of something prior to the beginning. And if we don't know what the beginning is because we don't know when the ending was, then any beginning is what? Where does the beginning in, let's just take the book of Genesis, where does the beginning start here? I mean, pick a date. I love playing darts. Used to be really good. It was in a league. But the fact is, let's just, what do you want to put? Where do you want to put the creation of the garden at here? Well, let's just go ahead and take the Sumerian. Let's take it with the Anunnaki. Where do you want to put man being manufactured here? We can say the same thing with Allah. We can say the same thing with, Kali. And if you look at this, it really shows that we are dumbass. Homo-Sapiens are dumbasses. We came from dumbasses, and we've never evolved beyond being dumbasses. We're as a dumbass today as we were a dumbass 2.5 million years ago, if you follow the logic. Because you see, if you're a dumbass at the very beginning, the odds are you're going to be a dumbass by the time you get to the end. You may have gained a little, but you're still going to, it's the lineage. You ain't got the right bloodline. I'm sorry, you can't be amongst our group. But let's just get back here. So 2.5 million years ago, we're dragging our knuckles, and we apparently don't have any cognition of thought. We apparently have no idea that we are a soul. We have no idea that there is a God. We can't even talk. But we're figuring things out because, the question is, did we wear clothes back then? You see, that's why we know today we're not normal to this environment. We have to clothe ourselves. The real indigenous ones don't. Anyway, so look at here. We got, we got nearly 2 million years that pass. 2 million years. And we're just now figuring out how to make fire and to cook food, apparently. Then they're telling us now apparently we were all homogenized back then. Was no deviation in pigment of skin, no deviation in thought. We were all the same. Okay. Now they say on this particular point of view that about 120,000 years ago, we began to show signs of pigment, making the suggestion of an emergence of a symbolic culture at this time. Which it means is that we segregated ourselves. The whites didn't associate the blacks didn't associate with the browns, and the browns didn't associate with the yellows. That ought to tell us something. Then something happened 50,000 years ago. Now, this is the big thing. It's debatable whether it was 50,000 or 70,000 years ago, but something happened. I don't know what, but apparently all up until this time, we couldn't talk. Apparently, we were very slow in developing, but magically something happened about 70,000 years ago where we suddenly had the use of a voice, which means higher intelligence, or so they say. And if you look at this across the board, I'm not disputing that we haven't been here. I think we've been here much longer than that. I'm just not buying this. If this is the way of the universe, I mean, if this is the progression of intelligence, no wonder there's nothing out there. I mean, if this is the pattern, the natural evolution of how intelligence is brought forth into existence and how it begins to evolve, folks, we're in deep, deep trouble. Now, I don't know if there is this ability to do an instant download. You know, you plug in the child like the Borg do, and it has all the retained knowledge of its species. Well, why don't humans have that? Every other species does. The bees, ants, dogs, plants. They all transmit their entire evolution of knowledge, except for supposedly the highest intelligent form of life, us. So then we have to ask ourselves, okay, so where did all this begin? I mean, they're telling us that we're simians. I contend, ladies and gentlemen, that there was an advanced species here that were reptilians. They were bipedal. They had cognitive thought. They were awareness. They were aware of them as self beings, highly advanced, probably more on, I would say, probably agriculture, probably were tremendous hunters. I contend that there were probably also the same steps taking place over in the simian world. But this is saying that somehow these earlier hominids began to basically use up the resources of their regions and began to spread out. Now, the problem with this one here is that all this is very recent. It shows ignorance. It shows the lack of ability to adapt quickly. Now, over time, yes. And if this is true, well, we know that the continents are not in the right place to begin with. We know there's a huge gap even on this theory. So we get back to what life is. Well, this follows that Earth would immediately start producing life. We're ignorant in how we define life. We have double standards all across the boards as to what is defined as life. because we have such an arrogant view of what we compare life to. But if you take this again, here comes humans. This one's saying 200,000 years ago. What happened? And are we saying that during this same interim period, in this case, 4 billion years, no other sentient life form was on planet Earth? We were just out there by ourselves in the cosmos. That's saying that there is no intelligence outside of our construct. You know, the Pentagon is releasing that the craft they have is not of this world. So here we go, prehistory to history. Now you just sit back and look at this, folks. You're telling me that this is intelligence? You're telling me that this is rapid evolution of intelligence, cognition? Seems like we are some really slow. We're in the remedial class. We may even be lower than that. And where's God in all this? Where's your Jesus? Where's your Muhammad? Where's your Yahweh? Where's your Kali? Where are these modern gods, even of the Egyptian era? Where the freak are they? Because if this is their handiwork, they're dumbasses. And if this is the pattern of the universe, holy crap. We may be completely deceived in thinking there's anything called ascension. But if there is, how the hell do you ascend out of this muck? And if there's reincarnation, holy crap. Exactly what is being reincarnated here? Dumbasses? Dumbass after dumbass after dumbass. We haven't advanced all that much today. So have we really come from Lucy to Ken and Barbie? Is this, so what, is this Yahweh's work? Is this what came out of the garden? Huh? Or is this what the Sumerians say, that in the creation chambers of Enki, Anu? I mean, which one of these came out of the garden? I want to know that. I mean, was Yahweh God of Cro-Magnon man? Did he give them a savior? Did a Cro-Magnon man have to be, somehow crucified to bring them up? Or are these all fallen men? Us? I mean, did we come from the chimpanzee? Huh? Is this us? I mean, pick your God now. Which God do you want to call for which portion of our background here? Because remember, we got prophecy. Why, Wayne, we're in the end times. Well, I want to know, did Lucy see the end times? Did they give her a book or something? How about the Peking man? Well, he was eating his duck. Did they kind of lay him on the whole big trip too? I mean, seriously? You see, if this is the case, well, you see how they have the little lines? That's because they don't know. It's just a guess. And the problem is when you start guessing, yeah. But is this our history? Where was this Savior? Where is the ascension? Were they back there in the Denisovans, the Neanderthals? Were they seeking Christ? Were they seeking God? Were they seeking a higher level of existence? Were they beginning to plan their ascension and begin to realize that, oh my God, we're being reincarnated into sapiens? I mean, seriously, folks, come on. We're having an intelligent conversation here about who we are. Because we're in a whole lot of crap right now, trying to figure it out. But yet no one wants to stop and figure out this. Well, it's easier, Wayne, if we just simply accept the fact that, this is the way it is. We're just here right now. And hey, it's so beautiful. Namaste to you, my friend. Really? What about these guys? I mean, let's talk about the sapiens. Let's talk about the Neanderthals. How about Homo erectus 1.5 million years ago? Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, when we stopped, picking the fleas off of us, because we had hair all over us. Oh, you don't like that, huh? Well, then tell me. Where are the modern gods and all here? I want to know this, because if we're living in the end days because of them, I want to know where they stepped in here. Which version came out of the garden? Which version came out of the creation thing? I mean, is there a higher intelligence here, or is this just nature? Is this nature? Because if this isn't of any god. It shows that bipedals have been here for a long, long time. But again, did Australopithecus realize that it was a created being? That it was a light being? That it was on the road to ascension? I don't know. But to ignore this and to say it's not relevant is ignorant as well. Because the thing about it is, if we weren't able to speak, did man have religions back then? How did the shamans work? Or is this all made up? Are all the archaeological digs, all the anthropology, all that the paleontology that has dug up, is that all made up? Is that a lie? Is that a deception? Because I want to know, did Australopithecus, did Homo erectus know it had a soul? Did it know it was serving a god from heaven? Did it know that there was a hell underneath? Was it concerned about, pleasing through ritualism? Because I want to know, when did God step in here? When did these higher intelligence, these deities, the angels, the demons, when did they step in? When did they start manifesting? What, are they just the knuckle bearers? When did they come in here? You're telling me people can be possessed. I want to know, when the freak did they come in? And when did your Yahweh come in? Where is all this at? Where's the Enki and the Enyo? And you're telling me that this is how we spread across this planet. I mean, just the very foundation of it is, to me, it's, yeah, I begin to question it. I mean, the Earth went through a number of catastrophes during this period of time. And yet you're telling me that in each incident of this cataclysms that we have records of, that somehow man comes through an LE event, life-ending event, brushes off the ashes and says, well, guess we're going to have to rebuild again. Really? Then you're going to tell me this happens time and time again, but there's no intervention at all being taking place here. It's remarkable that man always seems to emerge where other species are obliterated. And we're saying that these are all humans now. Just whatever a human is. Sapiens, Neanderthals. The divergence is still an interesting question. I mean, you look at this and I say, well, okay, Yeah, we talk about the brain. We know that sapiens ate brains. Okay. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, so where did the schisms happen? I mean, seriously, how far do you want to go back to the adaptations of walking bipedally, smaller cranium, canine teeth? Did they believe in Yahweh? Did they believe in Jesus? Did they believe the prophets? Oh, wait a minute. There weren't none around. Or were they? Do they have souls? Are they spirit beings? If they're spirit beings, this begins to bring the whole question then, what happens truly in the spirit realm? We can't all be just as old as God unless you're telling me that this is how ascension is brought, that you bring yourself down to the basically of an animal. We already are, aren't we? Many religions say that man is an animal. Well, how the hell did we get a soul? Then when did we get a spirit? Was it back here? And by the way, do we have Australopithecus? Are they reincarnated? And you know, is this how? But wait a minute, you don't bring your memory, so explain to me how that works. See, that's the one thing I have with reincarnation. They seem to have this magical idea that, well, you know, you were created from the very beginning. Well, if I was a beginning, well, you have no beginning. Okay, and yet I'm reaching for ascension. Well, that's how it's achieved through reincarnation. So what? Do we all just drag our knuckles there like old Boniface? Bonobos, you see him up there? But let's talk maybe a different direction now. Maybe this is all on a grand scale if you look at it from the aspect that we're planted here, we've been inserted here, that this is in fact a grand experiment. This is nothing more, a planet that is nothing more than a lab by an intelligence that is beyond our comprehension. Because you see, something is happening. If you look at the fact that if we've been here for 200,000 years and that you can basically say what Australopithecus had what IQ of 0? I had to have some IQ. But the problem is, in 200,000 years, we've only advanced to an IQ of 100. There's something wrong with that. Totally wrong. So what if we are at that crossroads, that end of a time, an era where sapiens are not going to be allowed to go into the age of Aquarius? What if we are in fact the disease? We can't go into the new era, the new age. We would contaminate it. So we're going to be on the road of being phased out. So right now we are at that crossroads where what we call Homo cyberneticus is alive. This is reality. You continue as you look at the Homo sapiens sapiens on this. We become Homo sapiens ludicus. We're already beginning to see Homo optimus to Homo hybridus, which is leading to Homo machinus, which will eventually bring to the new species of planet Earth, the new experience, Robotus primus. Robotus multitudinarius. Sapiens cannot be the future. We were never designed to be the future. And cybernetics is real, folks. Transhumanism is alive. And I know it's very controversial, some of the things I've said. I don't say I believe them. I'm bringing them out in a discussion to bring highlight to these points. Because if you go back 1.5 million years, look at what it took us in development to get to where we are. And that's if there's nothing new under the sun. This is all saying that this is all new. But if you look at what has taken place in the 20th century alone, and now we're a fifth of the way through the 21st century, the machines are everywhere. Our young people, particularly those under the age of 10, are already wired in. The 10 to 20 years olds are completely dependent upon the machine. The 20 to 30s are addicted to the machine. The 30s and 40s cannot cope because they're addicted to the machine. The 40 to 50s were the beginning. In the 60s plus, we barely escaped. But yet we were the channelers that brought this in. We go further. So once Robotus primus, and that is the Robotus multitudinarius, the Gaia sapiens, will lead us into the Sim sapiens and the Bacteria sapiens. It comes back to that question, where does your consciousness reside? Where does it reside? Tell me exactly where your thoughts originate from. Tell me where the center of your life force is at. The truth is, it's in your cells. Your cells contain your genetic code. Consciousness is not just a simple central point. It's everything. When you cross over into the next realm, your ethereal body will be your intelligence, your consciousness. Be no different than it is in a cell. And we can see by the progression that now evolution has taken over, or maybe that's what the master planners had, that by integrating us into machines, we begin to enhance our sensory perceptions that we already have. There is already the thought that they're practicing on humans already, that humans, once they're integrated into the neural net, they're everywhere, all the time, anytime. Wherever the net is, so are you. Now, I don't know if that's your idea of eternal life. It's not mine. But this is where we're heading. And I guess the whole exercise for today was really just to focus in on, where were these gods? We have modern day beliefs. They're failing us. Everything is failing us. We have no ingenuity. We have no original thought. Our leaders are powerless. Society is collapsing because people don't know what to do. And yet, I sit here and I'm going, so what? Am I one of the chosen few for ascension? Is this really the path? I mean, is this really real? Because if we can't answer the question of what a humanid or a human, a man, 200,000 years ago, did they have a soul? Did they think about the afterlife? Their lifespans were very short. It's just in the modern era have we seen lifespans now exceeding, the average person can live to 78. Shame, isn't it? And yet during this whole time, our intelligence hasn't advanced. I don't get it. I don't get where these ascended beings. And then again, I ask the question, tell me where your angels and demons come in on the timeline. Tell me this, and tell me how the hell reincarnation works. Who is being reincarnated here? What is being reincarnated? What is exactly, and who is exactly, what is exactly ascending here? You're trying to tell me that we all have a soul, we all have a spirit, right? Oh, you're in an experience, Wayne. You have a spirit, you have a soul. You don't know that. No one knows that. It is assumed. It's one of the greatest assumptions of humanity, that we somehow have a soul, that we somehow have this spirit. Well, who is that reserved for? Is it just sapiens? Is that the only ones? Kirk Plain says, spirit reincarnate until they accomplish the rise. Who? What? What spirit, Kirk? You can't tell me. You cannot tell me what spirit. Is this the spirit of Homo erectus? Is this the progress? Do they come into existence completely blanks and that this is how it processed? Are you saying that says all of us? That we all came back from Homo erectus antiquus further? Now, Kurt, I'm not picking on you. I'm just bringing it out. We make these broad assumptions, and it's dangerous. That's why I study magic. Religion is magic, just a different kind of magic. But the evidence would suggest that there's something higher than us at play here. We don't even know who us is. I'm going to be doing an interview here where they want to know, because apparently this bringing this thing out that humans who are walking, when you go out to the grocery store or out in public, they're not the same as you are. You're not them. You're of a different substance. You talk about the spirit. Is all spirits the same, Kirk? That's my question. Are all spirits in the whole universe the same? Because if you're using a template for ascension, then that's basically saying that we're all nothing more than automatons. That somehow or another we have this ability to somehow magically to ascend. So are all spirits the same spirit, or are they of the same substance, the same origins? But what is nature? Define nature for me, Kurt. Come on, you say that intelligence is in nature. Define nature. Is nature God? Is nature spirit? These are questions. So you say, no, we have a choice, but yet it seems in all the religious, all the dogmas, even a lot of the philosophies, that you pay a price if you have a free will and you do something that's against someone else's free will, like a God. Then you're punished for it. I contend we don't have free will. The choices are just that. They're choices. Free will says I don't have to make a choice. That's what true free will is. I don't have to be influenced. I don't have to be anything other than just me. Charlene says there is no proof of free will. That's a very good point, because the whole Christian, the whole Muslim, the whole Islamic, the whole Judaism is that you're punished for free will. Supposedly this God gave you free will, but you made the wrong choice. So now you have to be punished. That's not free will. That's slaves. I know this is a conversation that gets deep. It brings up a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, because a lot of people don't want to go there. And again, why aren't we as intelligent as we should be? All of us should be walking around with a minimum IQ of 3,000. 3,000. And that today we're seeing IQ scores go down. And after this pandemic crap, we are going to be graduating a group of clueless young people. And the millennials are already showing they don't have what it takes. They live such a pampered life, such a shelter life, getting their participation trophies, that now as adults, they can't handle it. And it gets worse the younger you get. See, Danny, I think that is free will. I don't have to choose to do anything. And if I look at this in a certain perspective, in time being non-relevant, I'm already ascended. Why am I trying to get into a room that I'm already sitting in? I love these deep conversations. I mean, this is what it's about. Again, I asked the simple question, when did these gods get here? It appears that they've been here very recent, which then suggests, I have another, give me 1 second here as I get it pulled up. Because this would suggest, ladies and gentlemen, that the earth has been invaded. How many of you remember in the movie The Matrix, first one, where Morpheus is being interrogated by Mr. Smith? And Mr. Smith tells Morpheus, he says, you know something about you humans? You're a virus. You act exactly like a virus. A virus is foreign. It is not natural. It comes in and it literally uses all the resources, changes the environment, and destroys it. It's what man's done. What we've done to this earth, no wonder Earth gets pissed off. But yet again, we don't know where we came from. Because if you're telling me that we came from Lucy, is that what God created? Did your concept of God create Lucy when he was thinking about you? I want to know who was in the garden? I mean, who was in South Africa, Southeastern Africa? Who? Were they sapiens? And is our modern gods only the gods of the sapiens? Because if they were the god of the Neanderthals got screwed. They ain't here anymore. Their blood is in us, but they're not here anymore. Man, what about Cro-Magnon? Was Jesus the same Jesus for Cro-Magnon man? Because I didn't see Cro-Magnon represented at the cross. Did you? So are we only talking sapiens here? I want to know. Come on, people. I'm watching the chat room. Can't you answer the question? Who is this God representative of? Nobody wants to answer the question. And I get it. Because if you answer the question, you're suddenly trapped. We don't know where we come from. How in the hell do we know where we're going? And you see Lucifer, all of this other crap, folks, it's made up. So was Lucifer back in Antikythus, Africa? Was Lucifer there? Was Satan there? Was God there? Was Jesus there? How, you know, we were into these things here. So were they ascending? Did they have powwows and sit down and say, wow, man, you know, these sapiens, it looks like they're going to be taken over, man. What do we got? Do we need to adapt? You know, do we, what? All right. I'm not getting anywhere with, you know, I can see the chat room. People don't want to deal with these. Because if we begin to hit them head on, we really don't know what we're doing. Someone says consciously, we come from our own making and go exactly where we take ourselves. So how did that happen? Are you telling me that I had the ability to materialize my body? See, I don't believe that either. We get so far into the spooky and the metaphysical aspect that we forget to keep our feet on the ground here. All I'm trying to do is bring cognitive thought to perceptions that permeate all of our current core beliefs. And if you can't challenge your core beliefs, then you're just deceiving yourself. And I continue to look back. I want to know exactly, maybe it's only me. No, I don't know. I know it's not only me because I got a number of emails, people thanking me, saying it's driving me crazy. For decades, I've thought about this. Where did these gods come in? Where did the Christian religion come in? And you know, you think about it, it's less than 2,000 years old. So what the hell was happening before then? And the problem is you can only go back so far and then you hit the wall. Boom, baby. Because the story doesn't carry beyond that. I love you all. This is why we're here. It's here to discuss these things. I don't have all the answers. I'm just asking the question. I'm driving the bus, trying to have a conversation with everyone that's on board. And I'd love to see these discussions carry on into other channels because we've got to begin to address this. We cannot accept the current status quo of what we think is yet to happen if we cannot address what already happened. And it is true, Marlon. We can't remember. And there we go. Yes. Thank you, Know Thyself. We're going to get, I have some things I'm working on the shirts, folks, that let me get it worked out. And I think everyone's going to be really pleasantly surprised by it. So, hey, Zarleth, thank you. Zarleth, we'll pick up on this tomorrow as well. It's something that, yes, the continuity, it's so important. I think collectively we can come up with some clues to this. I really do believe this. Because until the questions have been posed in a public where it's into the collectiveness, then we don't begin to really focus. And when we begin to focus on it, I mean, I'd love to hear someone's point. When did Yahweh come in? When did the Elohim come in? When did, and I could go on with all the others. It would tell me that they're invaders. They're not natural to this environment, which then makes me question, are we really as truly natural to this environment? I mean, if we are, then we've deceived ourselves by destroying our biggest, strongest ally, Earth. And if gods can take personifications and manifestations, why can't Earth? Why can't Earth manifest into a physical personification? It would seem like she would have the answers, right? It would seem that Earth as an observer would know exactly what to tell us. That's where I'm going. I only know one source that I can trust, and that's Earth. It's tangible to me. I can put my feet and I can feel the energy. She is the only one that knows for sure. She is above all the other gods, all of the other thoughts, all the other dogmas. She knows. And I think she's talking. Okay, folks. Thank you for joining me. Tomorrow is what the cards say. Looking forward to the panel. And thank you all for a great hour. Tonight, we're going to be picking this right back up on the Steiger Perspective. Because, folks, these questions have a great relevancy upon our societal ills today. People are lacking hope. They're lacking faith. They're afraid. I think we can help answer some of their questions. Many of us have been through all the religions. We know it's Earth. And it's not something to be materialized, capitalized on. If we're ever going to get to it, we have to strip off the materialism. We have to strip off as though we were going naked before Earth itself and ask the questions. Where did we come from? Who is responsible? I think she'd be a good witness. All right, folks. Bye. See y'all next time. Thank you. I appreciate it so much you tune in. Thank you, family. Thank you, all the moderators. Hey there, Big Al. Y'all can carry this over on Discord. David Barry has set that up. And again, the tribe is growing. And I look forward to seeing y'all's input on this. I'm very curious to see what your perceptions are on this. We can learn from each other, and that's what I am seeking, is to learn from you. And let's see if maybe we can answer a few of these questions. All right, thank you all. Much love to you, and BOSTO to everyone. All right. Favor as well. Bye.